Why are Staffordshire Bull Terriers banned? Now, before you get your fur up and start barking at me, let's unpack this topic with a dose of humor and a sprinkle of reality. Because if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that dog laws can be as confusing as trying to teach a cat to fetch. The Dangerous Dogs Act. First off, let's talk about the Dangerous Dogs Act. This legislation was introduced in the UK back in 1991 after a series of unfortunate incidents involving dog attacks. You know how it goes. One too many bites, and suddenly everyone's in a panic. It's like when someone brings a casserole to a potluck that looks suspiciously like it was made in a science lab. One bad experience, and suddenly casseroles are banned from all future gatherings. The act originally targeted specific breeds known for their fighting backgrounds. Think pit bulls and Japanese tosas. But here's the kicker. Staffordshire Bull Terriers were left off the list. Why? Well, they didn't quite fit the mold of the dangerous dog that the government was worried about. It's like they were the awkward kid in school who never got picked for dodgeball, but somehow still managed to avoid detention. PETA in the campaign. Fast forward to recent years, and we see PETA stirring the pot again. This organization has a knack for making headlines, whether it's for their animal rights campaigns or their questionable stances on pet ownership. They launched a campaign to add Staffordshire Bull Terriers to the list of banned breeds, claiming that these dogs are among the most abused and abandoned. Their theory? If you make them harder to own, fewer would suffer. It's a bit like saying if we ban chocolate cake, fewer people will get diabetes. But hold on, this logic is as flawed as trying to use a spoon to cut steak. Making it harder to own Staffies doesn't solve the problem. It just creates more issues. You'd think PETA would know better than to propose something that could lead to more dogs being abandoned or mistreated. The reality of Staffies. Let's get real for a second. Staffordshire Bull Terriers are generally known for their friendly disposition and loyalty, especially when raised in loving homes. They're like that friend who always shows up for you. Reliable, affectionate, and ready for a good time. The problem arises when they're owned by irresponsible individuals who don't understand how to train or socialize them properly. What happens then? Well, you get headlines about dangerous dogs attacking people. But let's be honest, any dog can be dangerous in the wrong hands. It's not about the breed. It's about how they're raised. You could take a fluffy little Pomeranian, and if it's raised by someone who thinks training means letting it run wild at the dog park, you might have yourself a little terror on your hands. The public perception. Now let's talk about public perception. Staffordshire Bull Terriers have been demonized in the media as fighting dogs owned by unsavory characters. It's like labeling all teenagers as troublemakers because one group decided to throw a wild party. This stigma leads people to fear them without understanding their true nature. In fact, many owners will tell you that Staffies are some of the most loving and goofy dogs out there. They're known for their playful antics and boundless energy. But try telling that to someone who only knows them from sensationalist news stories featuring dangerous breeds. So why are Staffordshire Bull Terriers banned? Or at least why do some people want them banned? It boils down to fear, misunderstanding, and some misguided attempts at animal welfare. Instead of focusing on banning breeds based on appearance or history, we should be promoting responsible ownership and proper training. At the end of the day, Staffordshire Bull Terriers aren't inherently dangerous. They're just misunderstood members of our canine family. So let's celebrate their unique charm instead of fearing them. Because if we're going to ban anything, let's start with those awful casserole dishes that keep showing up at potlucks.